Hi, this is Jose Aliaga.
And I'm Matt Marco. Welcome back to the Aliaga Marco Show. And Jose, we've always said that Democrats are into taxing and spending, and a lot of people say, no, Republicans are into spending and all that. But what we've seen is just the epitome of it. Back in March of 2021, the Democrats passed this, what they called the American Rescue Plan, which not one Republican voted for, and that was $1.9 trillion just pushed out to all the communities and all that, which caused a massive inflation. It caused the Fed to have to print and borrow money. They had to massively increase the money supply, and all that did was just create the kind of inflation that we haven't seen in 40 years.
That's right, Matt, and that's very sad what's going on lately. Um, you know, this is another lie from the Democrats, like they did it before with the Affordable Care Act, that what it did is make healthcare more expensive for people. It wasn't a good deal for the average people, for everybody across the country. Now, what did they call in the Inflation Reduction Act? It's a lie. It's nothing to do with inflation. This is another name for Green New Deal. That's what it's about. This is a fake name. That's what it's about, man.
That's right, Jose. And let me show you, I did a meme. This meme I created, Jose, shows how the Democrats use opposite meanings for what they try to sell something by putting out the name of something. So, like, for example, things that have names that have opposite meanings, and I did this meme, like North Korea, the name of their country is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Obviously, there's nothing democratic about it. It's the opposite meaning. Antifa, they like to call themselves the anti-fascist organization, but really they use fascist tactics, so they are fascists indeed. And so the next thing we saw is this Inflation Reduction Act, which has the complete opposite meaning. And this was the thing that they just passed recently, I think a week ago or so, which creates even more inflation. So first, with what I was just mentioning about in 2021, they created all this inflation. Now, to handle all this inflation, so they're admitting they created all this inflation, they want to double down on doing what created it by spending another $750 billion, more spending, more printing of money, which will actually increase the inflation that we've seen. And I'd like to say this is what we've seen as a result under the Biden administration and Democrat control in our legislature, is how inflation has increased since that started. We were at 1.4% inflation under President Trump when he left office. And then with all this spending and taxing, regulations, and then limiting our oil production, which has raised the price of fuel, which is twice now what it was, you can see how inflation has gone up to it's actually over 9% since this statistic was made. So that is the result of what Democrats have been doing, Jose.
I know, and it's very sad because this is nothing to do with inflation. What this bill is, basically, it's a lie. The name is nothing to do with inflation. It's about a new Green Deal. Because what it does is basically, Nancy Pelosi even talked about this. She's saying that this is to help diversity, this is to help green energy and so forth. It's a bunch of lies once again, and the Democrat Party is trying to raise a lot of taxes. Now, this is basically a lot of subsidized money for solar panels, and also is to hire 87,000 new IRS agents. That the job description for these people basically is to find more revenues from working class families. So they're gonna be taking money from people, they try to enforce everything they can to get more money to keep government big, and it's not what we want. If you take 87,000 new agents, we can put them in a football stadium, and maybe they will be packed. There's too many. I mean, I don't know why they want to keep working with big government. It shows in many countries around the world it doesn't work. Now, if you look at it, the money is coming from the middle class. So if you look at it, they're gonna tax basically middle class people. So we're talking about people that makes around 200,000 a year. So on 2023, basically every middle class that makes below $200,000 is gonna have a huge tax increase. I say this is because it's not the only proposal, that it's not the only thing that the federal government is going to tax. If you look at it, Oakland County wants to put a proposal that millage is going to tax more taxpayer middle class people. So middle class is going to suffer so much with the Democrats' proposal. With Washington and Oakland County, I know Oakland County is a different subject, but it's going to affect directly to middle class. A middle class already is struggling, man. What you just mentioned is going to kill a lot of people. The economy is gonna, obviously, is looking really bad for 2023. Hopefully, we send a message to the Democrats by replacing them on November election.
That's right, Jose. And it's really scary when you think about how they're expanding the federal government and the IRS with an additional, they're doubling the size of the IRS. And they've been arming them. They've been buying ammunition and guns. They are creating the type of a Gestapo type force that people are going to fear. And if you go back to what happened under Obama with Lois Lerner, where they were using the IRS to target their political opponents, this is exactly what happens in these kind of socialist fascist states, where you have a massive expansion of the federal government and people are afraid of the government. And in this country, people should not be afraid of the government. The government should be afraid of the people because they work for us. And if they think that they can create this force and if you speak out against the government, you're going to get audited by the IRS and shut down. We better do exactly what you said. Get rid of these Democrats, vote them out, vote in a Republican majority, and eventually we'll get a Republican president in 2025. And we can end all of this nonsense.
Exactly, Matt. And I want to encourage people that watch this show to pay attention how our representatives are voting, their voting record, because these people have been voting and supporting tax increase, which doesn't help in the current economy. Never a tax increase help anyways. Economists will tell you the taxes increases slow the economy. Now, if you pay attention what Nancy Pelosi says, she addressed about this bill that is going to bring more inclusion. I says, what she's talking about? She says she's going to put $60 billion taxpayer money for diversity, so for climate change, for green energy, whatever. But how is called the Inflation Act if this is nothing to do with inflation?
It has nothing to do with inflation. It's all Green New Deal. It's all Democrat giving money to their special interest groups to try to win favor. And another thing that's going to happen today, Biden is going to propose, and that's going to be a sort of a bribe to people to pay off their student loans. And that's going to be another $900 billion, which is basically going to go to the national debt. It's going to cause more printing of money, more inflation. It's also very regressive in that now you're going to have people that are working hard. They didn't go to college. They maybe have gone to a trade school. They may have, or they have paid off their debt. They did the right thing. Now it's going to go to people with and I don't mean to put down philosophy majors or some major that really doesn't add a lot to the value of the country as far as GDP. Cause people that are working hard to have to pay that off. It's going to add to the debt that's going to go to your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. It's the type of thing that's going to create more inflation. And the whole point is, as we're into a political year, trying to basically give a political bribe to people with student loans.
I know, Matt, and I agree 100% with you. At this point, I believe tax increases is wrong for our country and for our county. Believe me, the Democrats are pushing it in Washington, Lansing, and Oakland County. So the people that actually live in Oakland County, the middle class is going to suffer really hard in 2023. If this passes, of course, I'm talking about the millage in Oakland County because
Well,
The
now
Democrats are already
so you're
raising our
talking
taxes.
about the transit millage.
Yes, man. Yes,
Yeah.
because if you look at it now, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats already pushed this high tax increase that is not going to help anybody, just special interests and the Democrats. Now, Oakland County is going to suffer on November if this proposal passed too. We're going to have that increase that doesn't benefit most of the northern part of Oakland County. So North Oakland County is going to suffer, which is middle class people, is going to suffer these tax increase proposals very hard. Middle
Yeah, we
class
have
is
to
going to
fight
suffer.
that transit millage, and this is the type of thing that will make people and businesses move out of Oakland County, because you're going to be paying high property taxes, and these people are not going to see any benefit from it. If people want, and we've talked about this at our last show, if people want to pay to have transportation, they can pay for it themselves if we can provide a competitive environment that attracts businesses and people and productivity. They can make the money and they can provide their own. There's rideshare services, there's lots of things, but we got a lot of rural areas up in especially northern Oakland County that will not be served by this. And all it will do is just cause it to be less competitive. People want to move out.
Right, Matt. But if you look at it, the Democrats are lying and lying and lying. They passed already a bill in Washington, call it the Inflation Act. There's nothing to do with inflation. It's not gonna help taxpayers or most of the middle class to overcome inflation. They're all. It's a way to reward some of their friends, special interests, and also basically what it is a new Green Deal. That's what it is, with different name. They lied to us. Now, Oakland County basically want to tax the whole north of Oakland County. They're going to be paying a lot of taxes for a benefit they're never going to get. And that's what the Democrats are doing right now. And that's
right. So we're
sad.
seeing a real consistency between what the Democrats are doing in Washington, D.C., all the way down to the local level of just trying to increase taxes and spending on things that give us no benefit. It is just going to make us less competitive. And one of the differences between the Democrats and Republicans, we think that individuals can take care of themselves if you give them the opportunity. They want to create basically a prison system where we're being provided for with and don't have the capability of doing things ourselves. We've got to stop this at the ballot box, Jose.
And this is totally wrong. I talked to a lot of independents and Democrats too. This is very hard for a lot of middle-class people, taxpayers. We don't want more tax increase. And I encourage everybody that's watching this show right now today to please share this video. Let people know what's going on, because this is wrong. We all are US citizens and we already got hurt our pockets about these tax increases. This is totally wrong. We won't get any benefits. At least North Oakland County will get nothing. This is wrong. I encourage everyone to share this video on Facebook, Twitter, every social media, and please keep subscribing on the channel, because we need to let everyone know about this. This is totally wrong.
That's right. And Jose, we're going to have to continue with this. And as always, we're going to try to keep people informed as we discuss these things.
Absolutely, Matt.
Okay, Jose, until the next time then.
Thank you, Matt, for the opportunity, and thank you for what you're doing with North. Matt, before we finish, can you let people know when is the next meeting for North? Because it's good to people get educated about some of these issues, you know? When is the next meeting?
On September 29th of 2022 this year. We're going to actually have a program to talk about that transit millage and how we can fight it. We're also going to have a program about this referendum that will be on the ballot in Michigan that is going to basically make it so much easier to create voter fraud. This referendum will be a constitutional change in Michigan. It will make ballot harvesting legal. It will do away with voter identity verifications, a lot of things that could be used to fraud the system. If that passes, we're in big trouble. We have to fight it. We're going to be talking about that. And then we'll also have our candidate for the 11th congressional district be shown too. So this is going to be an important meeting at Deer Lake Racquet Club on September 29th, 7 o'clock. Come on out. We got to fight these things. The transit millage, we got to fight that voter fraud thing that'll be on the ballot. So there's a lot of important things that we have to unite for. So come on out September 29th.
Matt, can you please put the information on the comments on the video so people can see the address of where the location and
I will
timing?
do that. Deer Lake Racket Club in Clarkston, in the great township of Independence, where they're going to get a new government in there, a new supervisor. I understand they've elected a new supervisor that's going to create the kind of change that we need for good government. And who is this guy again?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate
I
that
think
from the
it's
bottom of my heart.
Supervisor-elect Jose Aliaga.
That's right.
Okay,
Thank you,
very
Matt.
good. And until the next time, Jose.
And people, please subscribe in the channel. Thank you for your support.